Faraway Downs doesn't negate Australia. Australia is like a meal versus a banquet. It allows you to take the underlying themes and really lay into those themes and really dig into them. And that was a really great joy. It's like when Dickens wrote his novels, he submitted them each week in a chapter. That's the equivalent, I think, of episodic streaming. And what was amazing was I was able to break down those chapters, enrich that chapter, leave them hopefully wanting to go to the next course in the banquet. Growing up and being a great lover of classic Hollywood Western, and I thought, like, you know, these great pastoral epics. And I thought, you know, it's amazing, America's like that, but Australia has that kind of storytelling too. In combination with that, I felt very deeply about First Nations land rights. The Stolen Generation is this incredibly painful and horrific scar on the history of the country. And so the gesture really was to kind of flip an old sweeping epic like a Gone with the Wind, but flip it from the perspective of a First Nations character, which ends up being Nulla. And I just thought, I wonder, could you take all of that fantastic pastoral storytelling using the landscape like David Lean does in Lawrence of Arabia, you know, the camel crossing a desert with music can say so much more profound poetry sometimes than words alone, allowing the maximum amount of audience into that very contentious, difficult, and painful historic reality in this country. The pandemic comes and I'm shut down in this lovely estate with my fam, and I started to re-look at the material of Australia, and with the advent of streaming, I could really lean into that theme. The only thing you really own is your story, and so you better make sure you're living a good one. There's this one scene actually, which I'm so happy is back in it. We used to have a different construct at the opening night. She'd turn up, her husband's dead, and that night she said, and she stayed. But now we've been able to replace it, and this is all about character. This is an example where you can use a dramatic point to just expand on character.
Out here, your cattle's worth more than your land.
Hey, listen, Sunshine. There's a murderous black out there. It's not safe. You with me?
Safe enough for you, mate.
Yeah, but Lady Ash is a woman.
Mr. Fletcher, I am as capable as any man. Besides, I have no shame in saying it. I need the money.
Well, that makes two of us.
Lady Ash is leaving.
Yeah, you know what? He's probably right. You should listen to Fletcher. As a woman, it probably is
Just
a little...
let me out. Very well. I will stay one night. You will complete the master.
No, he'll complete the master.
And that sets the dynamic for the relationship. That was not in the film. Now, I don't think you missed it in the compression, but what you do get is a greater insight into those characters. And that's something that episodic streaming allows. It just allows a flowering out of character, a sitting in to the inner life of characters. Australia did not do well in the US, but it's still my #1 film in Europe, even more than Elvis. And I think about that, and I think about the people who have a real relationship to it. I mean, there's no precedent for this. There is, sure, someone's re-looked at a work and reshot footage, but there's no precedent for taking something that was already existing and having so much footage that you could fundamentally re-look at every single beat in it. Nicole saw Australia maybe about 3-4 years ago, and she rang me and said, I saw it with my family, and it's their favorite movie, you know, and we talked about it, and because we only remember the shooting of it and the adventures of it. And with Hugh, though, it was a very special experience. Hugh Jackman breaks in those horses, you know, he is in the cattle stampede. Before this, he had barely ridden. I don't think there's anything physical that Hugh Jackman can't actually do, and it's not just that he does it like he's done it all his life, and he does it with such grace and confidence. And you know, that was just something to behold. So I'm really excited that a lot of footage where Hugh's cattleman craft is going to be seen, because that's kind of thrilling as well.
We're not really used to,
A woman? I suppose you think I should be back in Darwin, at the church fete, or the ladies, whatever you call it. Well, I will have you know that I am as capable as any man.
guests. When I used to guess, that's what I was about to say.
I mean, it's a melodrama, right? We don't make any bones about that. Thankfully, Nicole and Hugh lean into it, because it's a bit of a trick, really. Sort of lull you into a sense of, I got this, it's like an old-fashioned Western, you know? And then it flips the coin. But it's a big and long and rich journey, and I hope that what people really get out of it, I think particularly in this time when the world is so tumultuous, what sustains in the story is no matter what happens, don't shrink backwards, go forward and embrace life and be in the moment. And the power of love, you know, because it's a profound love story amplified through landscape.